free fox. That's fun to say. Free fox. The whole writing analogy sounds exactly like you. Sounds exactly like a lot of people. If we took a vote, you would not be alone. Also, the lack of concentration and attention, as well as procrastination. That's like a high wall that cannot be climbed over. No, take it back. Don't limit yourself. That's like the survival instinct talking right there. So instead, we're going to reword your question for you. As well as procrastination. How can you help me with this? What's your advice about this, Eloheim? Do you have insight for me about how I can interact with this in a more healthy way? Don't put yourself like a high wall that can't be climbed over. Don't do that to you. You're too cool to put yourself behind a high wall that can't be climbed over. All right? Say yes. I want to know you're on the same page as this. Can't see you nodding. We're very good at rephrasing people's questions. That's another thing we're good at. So what we want to say to you about that is everything we've said already today is going to help you, right? That's clear. But specifically about procrastination, because we hadn't actually used that word. So let's talk about procrastination because, after all, that's a human thing. Typically, procrastination happens when you're unclear about what step you're on. If you have clarity, it's very easy to act. I have everything I need to put them together. I have the time, I have the energy, I have the space, I have whatever resources I need, I put them together. So for us, when you feel procrastination, especially for you, we feel like what's happening is you don't have clarity on the step that you're on. Because if you knew all I need to do is go down to the shops and pick up XYZ, that's the step you're on. Go to the shops and pick up XYZ. If you sit and think, oh, I don't have XYZ. If I had XYZ, I could do this, but I don't. I suck. You're not on the if I had it step. You're on the go get it step. That's how the figuring out what step you're on thing works. Somebody just had a gate latch. Now, when we say gate latch, we mean whenever we hear you guys get a big aha, we hear this sound that sounds like a gate. We don't know if you guys have this. It's so fun to talk to people who aren't in America. In America, they have these gates where there's a hook and a bar, and the bar slides in and it goes chick. Did we do that in the right? Chick. And it makes a specific sound. And every time we get a big aha, we hear the gate latch. That's what that means, gate latch. So you're just having a hard time discerning what exact step you're on. So if you feel a sense of procrastination, we think that you're on too big of a step. Or the step that you're on is intimidating you. And typically when the step that you're on is intimidating you is because you're thinking about the 50th step or the past. You're not actually in the moment with it. To get into the moment with it. And make super reasonable goals. Like, let's say you're a person who decided you want to exercise. You want to exercise because you want to change the way your body looks. Okay, great. So instead of saying, I'm going to run 5 miles tomorrow, don't do that. You're not going to feel good afterwards. What you say instead is, I'm going to do 1 push-up today. In fact, I'm going to do it right now. We imagine once you get down on the floor, you'll probably do 2 or more. It doesn't matter. 1 is your goal. 1 is success. 5 miles running, intimidating. 1 push-up, we could all probably do it together right now if we wanted to. Set super easy goals. Now, that doesn't let you off the hook for eventually increasing that. What it does is gives you a chance, especially at the very beginning, to feel a sense of accomplishment, which really is extremely motivating. Procrastination typically comes because you don't have clarity, because you're biting off more than you should be in that moment. Every single thing you've ever seen in your entire life was built step by step. If you imagine looking out and seeing a bridge or a building or anything like that, right? Every single part of it was built in the smallest little step at a time. Even if they bring in a big metal piece, it has to be bolted down 1 bolt at a time. So it's really, really mean to yourself, which is our only rule. You can't be mean to yourself. It's really mean to yourself to look out at the world and say, well, look what so-and-so did, or look what he did, or look what she did, or look what they did, and imagine that they just whipped it out Because it happened step by step. It happened because one person sat down and said, what's the first step here? What's the first step here? Every single thing happened, a single step at a time. And it's extraordinarily unkind to yourself to imagine that somehow your projects should happen in a different way, and because they're not, you suck. That's just not nice, and we don't go for not nice. We said we only have one rule. You cannot be mean to yourself. Period. Okay, hang on just a sec. Okay, so Jacqueline can't use the chat box. Okay, just a second. So, Free Fox, does that answer your question? Does that help you have some clarity on that? And then we'll do Jacqueline, and then Ever, make sure you hang on to yours so that we don't lose it. Okay, great. And like we said, we're super good at figuring out what step you're on and helping you stay on it long enough to do something. So that's the kind of stuff we do in private sessions.